Okay, here's some Hobie Tandem Island basics. The first thing for everybody to remember is it's a wonderful boat, but it can be broken. And the way you break it is if anything's hanging down in the water and it smashes into rocks out in the water. What's really deceptive about Lake Huron is there are a lot of rocks within maybe 150 yards ashore. There's some really big rocks. This boat weighs 175 pounds. You've got a couple of people in it. You've got a 300 or 400 pound device flying through the water. And if the rudder is down, or if these paddles are down in the water and they hit a rock, they'll just break or bend. And believe me, we've done it already. We've broken one rudder. We've bent up those paddles a couple of times. So that's the one thing I would ask you to do, is just be really, really careful to never, ever, ever let the rudder or the paddles touch anything on the ground. But it's actually quite easy to avoid that, and the way we avoid it is that we don't put anything down in the water until we have the boat out at least, let's say 200 yards or 150 yards from shore, where you're sure there's not going to be any rocks underneath anything. So basically, get in the boat, you paddle it out by hand or by using one of the manual paddles which are strapped to the side of the boat. Paddle, paddle, paddle all the way out there. When you're out there and it's deep enough, then you put the stuff in the water. Now here's how you do the rudder. The rudder has got dual controls. There's a up and a down, and these are little cables. And basically the way this works is that when you pull the down cable, the rudder will flip down in the back. But it will only do that if the up cables are fully released. There's one up cable, and then there's a second set of controls up in the front of the boat. And what I have here is I've got this thing locked down so it can't go anywhere. So now that that one's loose, you can now pull either one of these downs, pull that down, and boop, if you look in the back, you see the rudder drops down. To get the rudder back up again, you grab one of these ups right here. Again, you either use the one in the middle or the one in the back, and you pull it out. It lifts the rudder up. And then what you do is you wrap the line around that little grasp right there, and it holds it. So now that holds the rudder up. The other thing we have is a centerboard. When you're sailing in the wind, you don't want the boat to blow sideways, so you have a centerboard. The centerboard knob, you pull that up and pull it back, the centerboard drops down into the boat. That's another thing that can get broken underneath the boat, so when you get into shallow water, you push it back up. So you've got an up and a down control in the back for this rudder, up and a down control in both the back and the front. The other control on the boat is the rudder itself. It has these little handles here. I turn that, see the rudder wiggles back and forth, and you'll also see that it's a dual control. The rudder works either from the middle or the back position, either one.